November was much better than I thought it'd be. So our sales on Black Friday were like the same as last year, near enough. Well, if you're down 10, 15, 20% in the stores in the months leading up to that, why were the figures so good? Now, that's not Harvey Norman, that's every retailer, I would assume.
So you've noticed customers changing their shopping habits. Are they more price conscious and looking for those sales?
Obviously, because the evidence says that that's what happened. And so from our point of view, we would much rather that it was even out over a period of time than having this sort of thing.
The RBA Governor, Michele Bullock, says she's been surprised to the extent with which household finances are holding up. What is your sense of the various pressures facing households right now?
Well, there'll be a lot of people disagree with Michelle on that one probably, but maybe she's right. And so, you know, where you've got a third of the people that own their own homes and they paid them off, they're not really affected that much. And then a third of the people that are buying their homes, at least half of them are okay too, maybe more. But the ones that are affected are the third that rent, because the rents have gone up quite a lot. And so that's a big problem. So now with a lot of people that come from overseas, they might come in and have 10 people, 15 people living in the one house. Australians are not used to that. They want 1, 2, 3, 4, no more. And so maybe a lot of kids or young ones, under 30 even, will stay at home. They'll have to.
How do you think households will cope with another interest rate rise, which the RBA is warning is a possibility?
I think the interest rate rise will maybe come. I'm sort of looking out a year from now and I'm thinking to myself, what will happen? I think it can go up 1% or it can come down 1%. It'll be in a tight range, my opinion, might be wrong. So I think that there's a fair chance it won't rise again over the next month or two, a fair chance. But it has a good chance of rising after that. But if the figures come through and the economy tightens a little, it might not.
You say it might rise after that. Would you then back in Michele Bullock's comments that we have an inflation problem and it is now homegrown?
We've got an inflation problem, but pretty much every country we're in, well, they have an inflation problem too. We're not unique. And if it's homegrown in Australia, then it's homegrown there as well. This inflation thing is in most Western countries, or all Western countries.
Is business justified on passing on price rises to maintain profit margins, as the Governor says businesses here now are? Well,
the big problem you've got for business going forward in the next 12 months is that I think you're possibly going to see more bankruptcies than you've seen for a very long time. Because you've got a lot of businesses out there at the moment under extreme pressure. And if you and I are in business together, we used to hire 3, now it's 2, now we'll work twice as hard, and then we still can't make it work, and we just give up, right? Because the costs are beating you. The good part about that, if there is a good part to it, is that you know, it does bring inflation down and creates unemployment and all those sort of things, which is possibly what's going to happen. So it's pretty tight out there for a lot of businesses. Now, if they don't put up their prices, they don't survive.
So does it take longer for prices to be adjusted downwards than it does for them to go up?
Yes.
There's renewed debate about whether the government should be scrapping the Stage 3 tax cuts, which would pump nearly $16 billion back into the economy in the first year. How do you look at this policy measure? Good for businesses like yours, I suppose, or will it prolong the need to keep interest rates higher for longer?
A lot of these things are inflationary. And you've got a government at the moment that's under a bit of pressure, and they're going to do things that will be inflationary because they're going to pump some money in that they don't want to pump in, but they will because they want to stay in government. So that'll be one of those policy arguments that there's a guy on this side and a guy on this side, and where do we meet in the middle? And so there's a lot of things you would do in a business sense or a common sense, but a politician might do something a little bit differently. You can't trust them because they want to stay in government above all other things.
You came out as a vocal supporter of the former Optus CEO after that telco experienced a national outage. Do you believe Kelly Bayer Rosmarin was the victim of a pylon?
Well, I did a radio ad at the time saying that, look, this is technology. It can blow up on anyone. And Optus were just unlucky. It could happen to Harvey Norman. It could happen to any company. And I think when you start to look at the chief executive of a company and say it's their fault, it's not really true. In our case, if it happened in Harvey Norman's case, all our IT people are doing that all the time. That's their job, right? And we don't know enough about it. It's their job, and it failed. But we look at it and say, well, that could happen to any company.
Gerry Harvey, great to speak to you.
Thank you.